I feel like the Kyrie Luka potential, like some of the screening actions that they maybe could have had, having Kyrie be the screener for Luka, having Luka be the screener for Kyrie. Have we seen enough of that, or would you want to see more of that? Because I feel like I want to see more of that. Just those two guys, kind of creating plays for each other, ghosting a screen action, whatever. Luka is shooting 40% on pull-up threes right now. So there's a pretty good, I think there's a way to draw so much attention with that action and then create for these other complementary players. Have we seen them tap into that a lot, or do they need to tap into it more?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a matchup-based thing for me personally, because I think the core of how they want to attack is they know that Luka is going to be a nightmare on switch hunting, and they have a lot of like mechanisms to generate that. And basically, like the goal was to force like double teams, and then they play 4-on-3. And then you have guys that are more capable of putting on the floor this year, like Derek Jones. You have Exum as well, and I think they showed that last game to be pretty effective. So I think that's like ideally at the core what they'd like to do. And then I think when you build on that, you play some teams that aren't going to be as like aggressive with blitzing and everything. I think that's when you can really get into the screening actions. Like I think in general, like you should mix in different looks throughout a game so you don't like gas Luka out and like make it very challenging for him to close the game. But I think overall, like I do like some of the actions that they put him in, like even without Kyrie involved, like there's been times where he's put in like like double staggers or double wide pin downs, whatever you want to call them, out of the corner, and that's something that he did during the World Cup. That was very like difficult for opposing teams to handle. He's going to draw a lot of fouls in those situations. I feel like, because you have to be very physical with someone who's that big and that skilled. And I think he's one of the like best process players, like in terms of like recognizing how defenses are reacting, how to like punish them. So like when you're in those you're in those actions, there's a lot that goes on, and then you're stressing the back end of the defense with a low man, and so like you can really like make quick, like just easy like situations out of that, where you're not necessarily having to break down a defender off the dribble like so often in ISO and things like that. So I think whether it's involving Kyrie or not, I do think I'd like to see that more. But I do think overall, like matchup dependent, if you're playing a team like Portland and they're going to full court press, Luka likes actually to be full court pressed. I actually asked him about that, like in New Orleans when he struggled and turned it over like 8 times. I was like, like Grant Williams mentioned, like he's kind of crazy, like the way he plays the game. Like he's like honestly, if you ask him, like it's kind of funny when you think about how Luka sees the game. A lot of times, if you ask him about actions or things like that, he's going to tell you it helps me be less tired. And then, like, that's, like, the main benefit. Like, he just needs, like, enough gas in the tank at the end of the game. But then also, it's like, if they double team me, I pass. If they don't double team me, I score. Like, that's just how easy the game is to him. Like, it's just kind of crazy to me. Like, so overall, like, that's how a lot of it kind of boils down. But I thought, like, even, like, the comment about, like, being full court press was kind of fascinating, because he's like, yeah, I actually like being full court press. I just needed to drive more. I needed to just be more aggressive. Like, oh, okay. Like, I guess the game is just that easy for someone like that. But like, so that's just kind of the mindset overall, is I think like they want to force those double teams.
Luka's a funny guy,
the game's pretty simple with the 4-on-3, but yeah, for sure.
If I were to, again, from an outsider's perspective, if I were to answer the question, have they made Luka more happier or more content with the progress this season? I think I would say yes. I think this summer they were aggressive in getting guys that match this type of style that they want to play, that match what Luka and Kyrie need. I think Derek Lively was a home run in terms of a draft prospect. And ultimately, even if you're not, maybe you are, maybe you think, I was going to bring this question up now, but like, even if you're not contending for a championship this year, you are building the process for what a championship team will eventually be. In that, rim protector, rolling, short roll creator, and Derek Lively, he will play a part in whatever the next championship this Mavericks team will contend for. Obviously, Luka and Kyrie will be a big part of that as well. You're trying out these different guys in a Derek Jones Jr., in a Grant Williams, in a Josh Green, to see how you can fill out the wing rotation. That's something that will inevitably grow. But I think in terms of the process, this has been a massive win for the Luka, hey, let's keep you satisfied here in Dallas thing. Would you guys, both of you guys, would you guys agree with that statement, that this was inevitably this like last 12 months, but not even less than 12 months, 6-7 months has been a major win to keep Luka a little bit more happy.
Yeah,
I guess Grant,
I definitely say
yeah.
so. Because if you let's think about like what the situation was on opening night last year. It was Spencer Dinwiddie as the backcourt partner, which is okay. Like he was a helpful player, but like ideally he was in that 6-man role where he was that extra like punch throughout like the 9 rounds, if you will, of like the game. And then you look at like Dorian Finney-Smith, he was solid too. But he's kind of a limited offensive player, like a really good catch and shoot player. But he's not someone that's going to like create out of a ball screen. Reggie Bullock was even more limited, and right. JaVale McGee was the starting center. Like that was a lot of limited skill sets. Where you got into a weird situation where it was like, okay, Christian Wood provides an offensive spark. Can we play him next to Luka and Spencer Dinwiddie? Well, the defense is not nearly good enough. So then you got into like a really like weird situation where it's like, okay, well, we felt those guys, JaVale and Christian Wood, were upgrades over Dwight Powell, right. But now we're putting Dwight Powell back out as the starting center. And then it's just like you're not really progressing when you said like that's the big improvement off of Western Conference Finals run is we need a rim protector, we need this like defensive rebounding, and you end up going back to the limited personnel at the 5 very frequently, like Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber that you had during that run. So I think like when you look at what they have now, like Derek Lively is a massive home run because now you have clarity. You also, it's not even just like the long-term hope. You also know there's immediate results because there's a big difference in presence when he's off the floor, like with what they have like as alternative options, whether it's like Dwight Powell or Rashawn Holmes or anyone else that's really like, or Markieff Morris in spot minutes or even Kleber. Like that really makes a big difference when you kind of already have that confidence that, that's a long-term answer. And then you start to look at the wing positions, like as you guys said, you think about like Grant Williams, when his 3 is clicking, that's a helpful player. He can guard bigger players as well with his frame. Derek Jones can fly around the half court, and they've been successful defensively when the intended starting 5 is on the floor. It's just then you get into the whole thing of like, would one of those guys be better long-term being a bench piece? Do we have enough talent to make that happen? And then you look at some of the other parts of the roster, Omax Prosper, 6'8" wing. That's the great size that you would want, like with a 7-foot wingspan. But how soon can he kind of get fluid offensively and get comfortable? I think he's shown flashes defensively. Like he handled Shai Gilgeous-Alexander well in the fourth quarter of, like the game that they really need to rely on him against the Thunder, and just different matchups as well. And, if you look at him, he's someone that's putting in work. Like it's facility, he did the old school cone drills. He was sliding. He was working on slides. And then he immediately translated it against the Thunder and got stops against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So that's right. Like, the old school put the work in using the cones and then getting stopped. We'll see how that works over the, rest of the season. If he can step into a bigger role and show like, consistency in what he's able to do, like that would be very helpful for the team overall in their roster construction. Cause he played 3 seasons of college basketball. He's 21. If I'm remembering that correctly, I feel like I remember he's 21. Basically point being a more like seasoned player entering the NBA than Derek Lively, and you're already getting that impact from Lively. So hopefully at some point you would like to get that like stable, consistent, like rotation role from Omax, cause he has the intended physical tools that you would like on the wing. And, so far he's played spot minutes, like when there's been injuries. And I think it's going to be obviously it's already a slower process for him than Lively, but I think like just overall, like big picture wise, it'll take some time, but that's why this month will be important with all the injuries that are going on right now. If he can show that he can handle consistently knocking down outside shots, that would be a big win, because that's the calling card for a lot of the other players that are getting minutes right now, and then building upon that going forward.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out a full episode of the Objective Basketball Podcast, the link is in the description. We'll see you guys there.